What's up, YouTube? Cast Sports here. This is a sports channel, so let's talk some sports. Okay? Now, this is a great time to be a sports fan. There's a lot going on in the sports world right now. NFL training camps will be opening in just a matter of weeks. And that means we're one step closer to football season. Major League Baseball is right in the middle of their season. The All-Star Game, better known as the Midsummer Classic, is tomorrow. It's just a great time to be a sports fan. And my number one sport, boxing, the sport I really love, is on fire. Has been on fire all of 2023. The first half of the year, which has just ended, has been big fight after big fight with big name after big name in it. Okay? And the second half of the year started with July, which, just looking at what's in it, the names, promises to be the best month of the year. You know, there's big name after big name going against each other this month. Now, the fighters still have to get in there and perform and give us these big fights. We're looking at some of these names going up against each other this month. We are in for a treat. And I don't know how they can have another month this year that's going to match July. This is the best month I've seen in years in boxing. If they come up with another month this year like July, as boxing fans, we might not be able to handle it. And July started out, last week, we had the women's undisputed fight, Franchon Cruz versus Savannah Marshall. And it really didn't live up to the hype, It was supposed to be this highly competitive slugfest. It wasn't that, okay, to be honest. But the good thing about it, we had more fights this past weekend. In the big fight this weekend, Jaron Ennis versus Roy Monvilla lived up to everything they said it was going to be. Okay. Now, one of the big welterweight fights we were supposed to have this weekend, Emmanuel Daniel versus Virgil Ortiz, was called off again. And it's hard to believe that Golden Boy didn't have another welterweight waiting to step in Virgil's place, because especially after this fight had been called off before for the same reason, and he had a previous fight against another opponent called off for the same reason this one was called off. So Golden Boy kind of dropped the ball. We'll talk about that later. But right now, let's talk about some of the fights that did happen this weekend. Okay. Now, on the card that Stanionis and Virgil was supposed to have headlined, Floyd Schofield against Pascal Rhodes replaced them as the main event. And that was a big opportunity for Floyd Schofield, a young fighter. You know, he's between that prospect level and that contenders level, right in that sweet spot, you know. And he got the win. The Pascal Rhodes. He got a unanimous 10-round decision. He looked pretty good getting the win. He dropped Rhodes twice in the 7th round and one time in the 8th round. Now, Schofield did suffer a nasty cut on his left eye in the 9th round, but he toughed it out. And all 3 judges gave him a 100-87 decision. Okay. 87 because Rhodes ended up with 87 because Schofield got a 2-point round and a 3-point round in the fight. Okay. And this was in the 135 division. So it was a big opportunity for the young man. Get the opportunity to headline his first event. And like I say, he looked good on the way to a unanimous decision. Now, one thing about it, I don't like the way his father is always talking all his trash, you know. I mean, now the fighter talking trash is something different. But you got the father in there, you know. Not a good look. You know. I guess this guy trying to be the next Bill Haney. I don't know. But anyway, Schofield improved his record to 15-0, 11 knockouts. Pascal Rhodes fell to 28-5-1 with 13 knockouts. You know, Rhodes is just somebody that's gets a check testing these young fighters. Okay. Also on the card was former world champion Jojo Diaz. Okay. Jojo went up against Jerry Perez. And Jojo had coming into this fight off with 3 straight losses. Of course, we all remember the Devin Haney loss. Then he also lost to William Zepeda and Mercito Gesta in that stretch. But Jojo got the win this time. He got a unanimous decision over Jerry Perez. This fight was kind of weird because Diaz came in at the weigh-in 6 pounds over the 135-pound limit. So they actually moved the fight 135 to 147. You know? Hey, I guess they sanctioned it and both fighters agreed to it, so whatever. But that was kind of weird. I really had never seen nothing like that before in all my years of boxing. And I go all the way back to the 80s, you know. 6 pounds is a lot to come over it. But, you know, it wasn't no belts on the line or anything. And like I say, both fighters agreed on it, so they went on with it. But Jojo got the win. Unanimous decision. 97-93, 97-93, and 98-92. We had a women's fight on the card also. Marlon Esparza went up against Gabriela Alanis, and it was a unification fight. Esparza had the WBA, WBC straps. Alanis had the WBO, and this was in the women's flyweight division. Okay, and this was kind of controversial match. Esparza boxed very well, and he was kind of the more active fighter, okay, as far as landing punches and everything. But Alanis was a busier fighter. Esparza was more accurate as far as boxing and landing her punches, but Alanis was the busier fighter, okay, volume punching and all that. And one judge had it 95-95. Another two had it. One had it 97-93, and then the 99-91. That was ridiculous. I didn't see the fight, but I saw the highlights, and Alanis is definitely won more than one round, which this judge gave her. And his father, he was a bronze medalist in the 2012 Olympics on the U.S. team. And it was a controversial decision. The fans booed it. But anyway, his father comes out of it, unified in the women's flyweight division with the WBA, WBO, and WBC belts now. Okay. And also on the card, Eric Tudor, prospect. He went up against Reggie Harris Jr. Okay. Now Tudor dropped Harris in the first round, but Harris got up and fought a very competitive fight the rest of the way. Tudor got the win. 77-74, 78-73, 78-73. Harris didn't get the most Harris got from the judges was 4 rounds, but it was a very competitive fight. The rounds were competitive, but Tudor was doing enough to get the nod at the end of every round. So Eric Tudor won an 8-round unanimous decision to take his record to 9-0 with 6 KOs, and Reggie Harris drops to 7-4 with 3 KOs. Okay. And the early part of the card had Tristan Kalkruf defeated Joe Jones in the cruiserweight division. Kalkruf got a 2nd-round knockout, and Darius Fulgham defeated Jeremiah Kirkwright by TKO in the 3rd round in the light heavyweight division. Okay. So that was the card that Danny Onis and Virgil was supposed to headline. But Ford Schofield stepped in against Haskell Rhodes, and it was a very good outing for the young man. Okay. Now on the other card of the night, the Ennis versus Vila card. On the undercard, the early fights. Excuse me for one moment. Okay, the early part of the card, Yuri Cedeno got a first round TKO over William Townsend. Steven Torres got a third round TKO over James Evans. Dwight Fleming Jr. also got a third round TKO over Henry Rivera. And Ismail Muhammad also got a third round TKO over Parker Bruno. Now, on the main card, in the first fight of the evening on the main card, we had Edwin De Los Santos up against Joseph Adorno. Now, in the final press conference on Thursday, Adorno was talking loud, talking real spice. That had us thinking we were going to get a fight, especially from Adorno, He even said it was do or die for him. So, we were thinking we might get a career-type performance from Adorno. And then he came out there Saturday night and just laid an egg. He acted like he didn't even want to fight. Kind of reminded me a little of Adrian Broner, toward the end of his career before he started his comeback. Remember how he wouldn't let his hands go? That's how Adorno was, All he did was walk around the ring with De Los Santos, Wouldn't let his hands go. He actually acted like he didn't want to fight, okay? And De Los Santos did all he could, He had worked nicely behind his jab, pretty good footwork, movement, through some nice combinations. But it's hard to look real good when your opponent acts like he doesn't want to fight. And that's exactly what Adorno did. I couldn't understand it. And he did that from beginning to end. And De Los Santos ended up getting the unanimous decision. Unanimous 10-round decision. Okay. Two of the judges gave him a shutout, 190. And the third judge gave it to him, De Los Santos, 99-91. Actually gave Adorno 1 round. Now, I watched the fight from the first bell in the first round all the way to the final bell in the 10th round, okay? And I don't know where this judge found this 1 round to give Adorno, because I didn't see him do anything to earn a round, okay? I mean, he was barely throwing punches. It would be interesting to see what his total punch output was for the fight, because Adorno just put in a ridiculous performance. And De Los Santos gets the win, and he improves his record to 16-1. Adorno drops to 17-3. 2 draws, 14 KOs. De Los Santos also has 14 KOs. Now, in the co-main event, it's Marquise Taylor against Yoelvis Gomez, okay? And Marquise Taylor came into this fight. He hadn't lost since 2015, okay? 8 years since he lost. And it wasn't like he wasn't fighting, because he had 15 fights in that time, okay? He did have a couple of draws and a no decision, but no losses. And guess what? After Saturday night, he still hasn't lost, okay? He got the win over Yoelvis Gomez. They're calling it an upset, but after looking at that fight Saturday night, it seems to me Taylor is clearly the better fighter, okay? Now, he had this awkward style, okay, where he was just coming at Gomez on angles and in and out, and just awkward, pressing him, But it was a method to the madness because Taylor stayed close to Gomez, but he still was able to score and score well on Gomez. But he was smothering Gomez's punches. Gomez couldn't get Taylor on the end of his punches. It was very effective performance. And Gomez just couldn't figure Taylor out at all. The only thing I was concerned about with the movement and the awkward way Taylor was fighting, I was concerned about his gas tank. Could he keep that type of fight up for 10 rounds? I mean, he did, you know. He kind of got a little tired in round 9, and Gomez came on some, but Taylor had enough left to hold him off. Okay. Very impressive performance by Taylor. And he got the unanimous decision, you know. Judges had it 92, judges had it 96-93, and the third judge had it 99-90, which seemed more like it. Like they had an even round in there somewhere. But 99-90 seemed more like it to me, okay? Because I really didn't see Gomez win any round, to be honest with you. But anyway, Taylor improved to 15 wins against 1 loss, 1 knockout. And that was Gomez's first loss. He drops to 6-1 with 5 knockouts, you know. And Taylor, with this victory, probably has put himself into position for a pretty good fight for his next fight. Okay. Now Gomez is a prospect, and he only has 1 loss, and this might show that you don't have to really put too much emphasis on that because this 1 loss will hurt him. But hey, he's young. This is only his 7th fight, and he can bounce back from this. Okay, a loss isn't everything. Okay, but a very impressive performance by Taylor. In the upset over Yorvis Gomez. Okay. Now we go to the main event. Jaron Boots Ennis against Romain Villa. Now, coming into this fight, coming off his last fight, people were saying Jaron Ennis had been exposed because he ended up going the distance with Kern, remember, guy that ran from him for 12 rounds. It seemed that Kern came into the fight with the attitude that this young hot shot isn't going to stop me, which he didn't, because Kern ran for 12 rounds. And Boots caught a bunch of flack from people saying he was exposed and that type of nonsense, but he won every round. But you know, people were saying, including me, that Boots' next opponent would pay for that flack. And we didn't know it was Romain Villa at the time. But once everybody found it was Romain Villa, there was talk that he was tailor-made for Boots because of his style. Even Boots said that. Villa is a come-forward pressure fighter. It's going to be right there. Boots wouldn't have to worry about cutting the ring off or looking for him. None of that. And that's how the fight ended up playing out. Boots started out with a beautiful jab, crisp, accurate, work fighting, beautiful behind it, you know. First couple rounds. I had put money on a second round Boots knockout. And when he went to southpaw in the second round, there was a moment and it looked like I might get it. But Villa survived the round, and as we got into the third, fifth, up into the middle round, Boots started, fighting in the phone booth, okay? And it wasn't a thing of, Boots got hit a lot, but it wasn't a thing of his defense not being tight. I think Boots figured out that he felt Villa's power, he didn't feel Villa could get him out of there. So he decided to fight that kind of fight. Boots wanted to rumble after that last performance. And man, Villa took a beating. I thought they should have stopped it in the 8th round. But especially after some of these weak stoppages we've been getting lately. But they let it go on, and finally in round 10, Boots knocked him out. He stopped him. But one thing you can say about Villa, with the chin and gas tank he had, because he wasn't gas, he was just broke down and hurt. That's why he got stopped. But with the chin and gas tank he has, he's going to always be in his fights. And like the Rashidi Ellis fight, Villa will hang around late, and his opponent mess around, Villa will stop him. But just an outstanding performance by Boots. And coming off the current performance, just the type of performance he needed, And Boots takes his record to 31-0 with 28 KOs. Villa drops to 26-2 with 24 KOs. Okay. And Villa's only other loss, besides Boots, was a split decision in 2019 to Marcos Villasana. So, right now at 147, I got it like this. I got Earl number 1, Boots 2, Bud 3, and Villa 4. Probably Ugas 5. Okay. Yeah, I put Villa in front of Ugas and Keith Thurman and Danny Owens because of his chin and his gas tank. Get later in fights, Villa's going to be there. Because if he can stand up to all that punishment from Boots, I don't think it's anybody else in the welterweight division that's going to deliver punishment like that. Unless it's Earl. Okay? And not many people in the welterweight division is going to stand up to that type of punishment. Okay? So just a magnificent performance by Boots. Okay, that's what he needed. Now, what's next for Boots? Okay. Stanionis, Ugas, Thurman are all good possibilities for him. Now, I think Ugas would be excellent for Boots. That would be a great name put on his resume. It would be a good win. Okay. And I think it would be kind of similar to the Ugas fight against Earl, with a good battle through the early rounds, middle rounds, and Ugas getting broken down and stopped late. But everything points to Stanionis. Okay. Now, as far as Stanionis, Boots would be a good next opponent for him. I know he's not going to work on Virgil anymore. That's rough when you sit there and have an entire training camp for a fight and then get the fight weak and the fight gets called off, because your trainer, your sparring partners, and any other kind of services you use in the course of a training camp, those people have to be paid, okay? But now you have to pay them without the benefit of getting a fight check, okay? So, and where does Virgil go from here? Virgil should probably take some time off. Even if in the next few months he gets the okay that his health is right to fight, he should probably take like a year off, man. Because this is the third time this injury has flared up for him, okay? Remember McKinson? He had the fight canceled against McKinson because of this, okay? And then he got it in and fought McKinson, but now This is the second time 2 canceled fights against Stanionis. Well, it was actually 3, but one of them was Stanionis' fault that it was canceled. But yeah, I think he should just take a year off, okay, just to make sure that everything is right. Don't get the okay to fight again and then just rush back and fight, because you're just not sure. Your health is way more important than some boxing career, okay? Now, as for Golden Boy, all these people that's running around talking about the PBC is doing bad and going out of business, they need to take a long look at Golden Boy, okay? Because Virgil doesn't get his stuff together, and Ryan Garcia walks. Now, I don't know what type of situation Ryan's contract with Golden Boy is or how much he left on it, but if he walks and Virgil doesn't get his stuff together, Golden Boy is done. Who else do they have? They got Floyd Schofield, but Floyd Schofield can't carry no promotional company, and please don't say Alexis Rocha. For all these people talking about BBC is in trouble, they better look at Golden Boy, okay? And then, back to what I was saying earlier, how could Golden Boy not have someone ready to step in for Virgil? With his injury history, you know, with the same injury, this is the 3rd time he had to cancel a fight because of this injury, okay? And they had nobody to step in and take his place. They dropped the ball, okay? Surely they could have found a welterweight somewhere to have on standby, you know, have fighting on the card just in case, something. They just had to cancel the fight altogether. That's just terrible on Golden Boy's part. Bad management, bad everything. Okay. But a great card, great, 2 great cards Saturday night. Okay. And there's more to come. We'll talk about July. Okay. Now, next Saturday, July 15th, we have another couple of great cards coming up, okay? Frank Martin, I believe this will be the first time headlining the card. Okay, he's fighting, Frank is fighting Artem, oh my goodness. Maybe I should just spell his name. Harwood Youngyan. It's Harutyunyan. That's who Frank is fighting, okay? This guy is German, and he's a former Olympian. He won the bronze medal in the 2016 Olympics, okay, for Germany. And this is a WBC title eliminator here. So the winner of this fight will put themselves in line for a title shot. Okay. Both undefeated. So a pretty good matchup. Also on the card is Nonito Donaire, going for another title. WBC bantamweight. He's going up against Alejandro Santiago. Okay, so that's at 180 in the 118 bantamweight division. Nonito Donaire versus Alejandro Santiago. And Alves Rodriguez against Victor Postol in a step-up fight for Alves. Okay, this will be his toughest fight to date. Alves has one loss already. He lost to Kenneth Sims back in 2021 in a close, it was a majority decision. Okay, and that's in the 140-pound division. Alex Rodriguez versus Victor Postol. Okay. Now, in the other card next week, from Detroit, Michigan. Now, the women's fight, we have Alicia Baumgardner facing Christina Leonardo. I hope I didn't butcher her name too bad. Now, this fits for Alicia's undisputed junior lightweight title. You know, it seems like every time we have a women's fight for undisputed or they're unifying in some division, I tell you, the women have been on fire for a while, man. But anyway, this is a rematch, okay? Leonardo put the only loss on Baumgardner's record back in 2018 in a close split decision. So this is a rematch, and probably gonna see some fireworks in this fight because this is the lady that put the only blemish on Alicia Baumgardner's record, okay? And it's for Baumgardner's undisputed junior lightweight championship, okay? And that's Saturday in Detroit. So all these fights I'm talking about now, we're in the fight week for these fights. And Richardson Hitchens and Montana Love was canceled or postponed. Montana Love had some kind of injury in training camp. I believe it was his hand. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it was Montana Love's hand, but I know he suffered an injury in training camp. So that fight is off for now. That was going to be an interesting fight. That was in the junior lightweight division. And Andy Cruz is on that card making his debut against Carlos Burgos. Okay, Andy Cruz with that Olympic pedigree and out of that Cuban boxing school. And he's on the fast track. He's making his debut with a 10-rounder in the 135 lightweight division. Okay, so it's going to be very interesting to see how Andy's career begins. Okay, and also very interesting to see how it plays out. Because, you know, we've been waiting on him to turn pro for a long time. And he does so Saturday night against Carlos Burgos. Here he comes, Keyshawn, excuse me. This is also a common opponent because Keyshawn faced Burgos before. So right off the bat, him and Andy have a common opponent. Okay. Now, and that's this Saturday coming up. Okay. Then the rest of them on the course of 22nd. George Kambosos is making his return to the ring. This will be his first action since the Devin Haney fights. Since the Devin Haney undisputed fights he had. Going up against Maxie Hughes. 12 rounds in the 140-pound division. Keyshawn Davis on the card. Francesca Patera. 10 rounds at 135. And this is another card of Top Rank showcasing some of their young talent. Jeremiah Milton, Troy Isley also on the card. And then the following week is the week. Actually, we had 3 fights that week. Okay. That's the week of the big Spence Crawford fight. And like I said, we had 3 fights that week. Starts out with the big fight from Japan on Tuesday. Stephen Fulton versus Naoya Inoue. And I found out why Inoue always fights on Tuesday. That's the big fight night in Japan is Tuesday. Like it is Saturday here, it's Tuesday in Japan. Okay. I always wondered about that. So for anyone who didn't know, that's the reason. Tuesday is their fight night in Japan, like Saturday is ours here. Okay. Babisa Ramirez also on that card. He's going up against who's he fight? Satoshi Shimuzi for Ramirez's 126 WBO title. Okay. that Friday, Sinisa Estrada is putting her unified titles, WBA, WBC strawweight titles on the line against Leonela Utica. Okay. Abraham Nova's on that card, going up against Donaldson Romero in the 130 division. And then, of course, it's Earl and Bud to finish off July 4th. Like I was saying earlier, man, if they can top July, wow. As boxing fans, we just might not be able to handle that if they come up with another month like this. Woo! And then in August, I know so far we got Navarrete and Valdez and Beterbiev, Callum Smith. And I believe Matthias and Lipinets. I don't know if that's been finalized, but we'll check into that. Yeah. And then, about September, we got Canelo going up against Jermell Charlo. And I already expressed how I feel about that, man. Canelo and his shenanigans, I mean, how he getting away with this nonsense, man. I mean, he's the undisputed champion at 168, but he keeps jumping up and down, just fighting anybody but 168. And then when he does fight in 168, it's some scrub like John Ryder, okay? And you got guys like David Benavidez, David Morrell, Demetrius Andrade, even Michaela Plant rematch. I mean, these guys deserve to fight Canelo more than Jermell Charlo for 154, a guy that's never even fought in this division. How does Canelo keep getting away with this? And there's no mention of stripping him or anything. I heard something about talk of stripping Jermell for going up fighting Canelo instead of defending his 154 crown in his division, but still crickets on Canelo, bringing him up to fight him. And then these unconditional fanboys, man, that defend everything Canelo does. They'll defend. Canelo could bring a guy from 122 to fight, strawweight. They would defend that. But he signed the contract. I mean, I hear him defend when it came out that Canelo cheated and took PEDs, and then they said, oh no, Canelo didn't take PEDs, the cow took them. Canelo ate some of the meat. Then they defend that. So, if anybody is crazy enough to defend some shit like that, then they'll defend anything. And that's just unconditional fanboy. That's ridiculous, man. And the Haneys. The Haneys, their name should be the Cappers. And all these Devin Haney fans, they always talk about, well, why don't Tank come to 140? How about a catchweight? Okay. Tank fights at 135. And if Devin goes to 140, why should Tank have to jump to 140 to follow him? How about it? They never mention a catchweight. They think 140 going to be some kind of advantage for Devin. Okay. And they don't really want to fight. The energy has changed. Bill Haney went a whole year when Devin was tied up in the Top Rank deal, and it took a year. Remember, the first Kambosos fight was in June 2022. Then we had the second one, and the final fight of the 3-fight deal was May 2023 with Lomachenko. And that whole year, you heard more about Tank than you did Kambosos and Lomachenko. But now, all of a sudden, it says May 20th, they forgot who Gervonta Tank Davis was. Talking about everything but Tank. They were running around last year with mugshots of Tank. But now he's running around this year with, he's got a warrant out for reaches. Talk about cap. And I heard this fanboy on this channel today I was on saying, I'm kind of thinking this is fact because Bill Haney said it. What makes it fact? Because Bill Haney said it. Bill Haney said Devin was going to knock Tank out. So does that mean Devin going to knock Tank out because Bill Haney said it? No. When is the last time Devin knocked somebody out? It hasn't been in recent memory. We're 3 years into this decade. Devin had knocked nobody out in this decade. So that's ridiculous, man. The Haneys or their fanboys don't want to fight. Now, some Haney fans want it, but the fanboys, the ones with the unconditional support, they don't want it. They don't want to see their man laying on the mat sleeping. And I'll tell you what happened. What happened was they wanted to fight, but then they saw how Lomachenko has closed that distance and stayed in Devin's grill, putting hands on him. Now, don't get me wrong, Devin was putting hands on Loma too, but put Tank in Loma's place and imagine Tank and Devin exchanging hands the way Devin and Loma was. Everybody knows how that will end. That's why the Haneys and their fans no longer want to fight Tank. Okay? They can cap and say all they want to, but the energy has changed. PBC has notified Bill Haney they want to make Tank and Devin. Bill Haney don't even talk about it. Okay? Why did he stop all of a sudden? But the fight doesn't have to be at 135, but it doesn't have to be at 140 either. How about a catchweight? And yes, we don't need a rehydration law. Okay. But we'll see. All these capping fans, man. I can't stand this unconditional support. We got to start calling it out. I thought Canelo fanboys were the worst. And I thought Bud Crawford's was pretty bad. But these Devin Haney fans is giving all of them a run for their money. You know? The nonsense they come up with to defend their man. It's ridiculous. Okay? But I'm going to get up out of here. It's been real. Anyone come in, then look at this thing one day, hit the like button. Subscribe to my little channel. I'm just trying to make it. Started this thing in January. I got 224 subscribers. Help a brother out. But anyway, I'm out. Good night.